Good afternoon, my friends. It is with great joy that I am once again able to speak with you and to share some thoughts with you and to express to you how absolutely thrilled we are with the way that the your meetings have evolved into something totally new and something so exciting and vibrant and energetically spiritually rich. The fact that you are sharing ideas and are learning to be more in the now and in the flow is so exciting to us, for that is where the benefit is for all of humanity. We have been saying for quite some time that everyone is going to be their own medium, and everyone who is going to be connected to the world of spirit and be their own medium and receive communications from us and guidance from us. We are happy that you are able to do that at this time, and that you will continue along this path. And in fact, what we want to say is that you have seen, you have seen, uh, excuse me, I forgot to mute.
I just went through muted people.
Oh, okay. Give me a time to get back. It is, I am happy to say that when I was on the earth plane, if something like that happened to me, it would cause a great disturbance in my physicality. But that is partially because when I went into trance, I was in a much deeper level than this medium it is. And therefore, a disturbance like that, which shocked my body with my spirit back into my body, which is called psychic shock and would cause all sorts of physical reactions. We are most pleased that that did not happen at this time, and that because of the level of trance that happened now, it was only a disturbance which did cause the medium some, I guess the word is discomfort, but not to the point that it was a physical problem. So we will continue to what we were addressing at the before. We wish to say that, Ria, what you experienced about clearing your studio is an example of how were tuned into what spirit has in store for you, but also how Susan reinforced that for you a few days afterwards. And this is what we are talking about everyone being their own medium, their own communication with the world of spirit. And of course, Ria, we know that you are a medium as well as Susan, but even those of you who are not mediumistic per se are mediumistic. You may not stand up in front of a group of people and give messages. You may not draw spirit pictures. You may not do spirit writing or automatic writing, but you are connected to spirit and can communicate and will communicate in the days to come. And this is part of what the recording of the consciousness gathering will allow you to do. I mean, as you go into that energy and get used to being in that energy, it kind of sets up a direct line of communication, a roadmap. That's the word. The roadmap into connecting with us, so that in the days to come, when you need guidance, you can simply flip that switch and use that roadmap and connect with us, and we will be able to influence you either through thought or through just feelings of what to do at that particular moment in that particular time. So it is a very positive step that we wish to acknowledge that this group is making by not only using the consciousness gathering recording, but also to we have these discussions. And so for that, we are most happy and pleased that this is occurring. I also wish to comment on what was being discussed about Joan of Arc and who was Joan of Arc, and so all that discussion that you had. Part of what I need you to understand is that the idea of a soul, of a human being having a soul, is an idea that stems from religions. If you go back into that book of books and read about the creation of man, it talks about God breathing into the nostrils of the inanimate man that was formed and breathing into him and forming him as a soul. And that concept of soul has dominated in humanity's ideas of what a soul is. And that is a very limited viewpoint. It was deliberately created in that limited format as part of the control that religion wanted to have on humankind. But in effect, that is not what happens per se. When you are residing in the spirit world and you, as a soul, as a spirit person, decide that it is time to come back into the physical world, you make what's called soul contracts. So you kind of decide what you're going to do in that lifetime, what you want to concentrate on, what lessons you want to learn. You pick your parents and so forth. And you kind of create the scenario of your lifetime. However, what is not always well understood is that while you are doing that, you can say, oh, I want to concentrate on X this time. And then you suddenly become aware that there are 2 or 3 or 4 other souls that also want to concentrate on X in their next lifetime. And you decide that all 4 of you are going to reincarnate and have the experience. So what happens is that a fractal or part of your soul will come back with these other souls to inhabit one physical body and go through one lifetime. So while you are having that one lifetime, another part of your soul that's still in the spirit world can decide that, oh, I want to just concentrate on you. And you meet up with some other people and go and reincarnate into another time frame and maybe even into another dimension. And also you're working on Q. So you are working on 2 different things in 2 different lifetimes at the same time, although there is no time. And so therefore, that is what the timelines and multidimensional type of qualities are all about. So should not be surprising to you that more than one person are the fractals or fractals parts of a soul The soul of Joan of Arc was made up of many different people's souls and had that experience. So it's not that I was Joan of Arc and Susan couldn't be. It was we both were. And I hope that clarifies what happens. And this is why you hear all this talk about multi-dimensional, multi different timelines and so forth. We are multidimensional beings. Our soul can be split into many parts. It's like a diamond. There's all fractals on it. There's all facets to it. And one facet can have one lifetime, another can have another lifetime, and it all occurring simultaneously, because for you, it's difficult to understand that there is no time because you're living in a time flow, where we in the spirit world are outside of that time flow, and to understand how this works a lot easier than you can fathom it, for most of you anyhow. So I just wanted to clarify that a little bit before we turn this over for the questions, which we are doing now.
Thank you for being here. We really appreciate you. We have two follow-up questions regarding cremation versus traditional burial. So this one is from Ann, and it's a follow-up. Hi, Carl and friends. At last month's service, it was explained that when a person dies, 100% of the soul does not leave the physical body all at once, and that certain soul energies remain in the deceased body that leaves slower than the bulk of the soul. Also, if the body gets burned or cremated before all the energy is released, there are certain consequences in the spirit world where the missing energy is felt. Could you explain what the consequences could be? And also, what are the certain soul energies that leave the body slower? Thank you.
The easiest way to talk about this is to talk about light bulbs. If you had a 250-watt light bulb and a 100-watt light bulb, and compared the energy or the light that's produced, you know that the 250 one is a lot brighter. So what we're talking about when all the energy does not released on time, and the person's missing energy, is they are now the 100-watt light bulb instead of the 250-watt light bulb. The effects of it is not so much that it's limiting the soul in the spirit world. It's just that they're not running on full capacity that they could have run on. They're not, the brightness is not there, if you understand it with the wattage comparison. So therefore, it's not that they can't do this or can't do that. It just might take them longer to achieve it because the full energy is not there. The specifics of what is retained is difficult for you to understand. But it is like a residue or an imprint that is an energetic imprint of the soul that is still there in the body that's no longer alive, where the soul has left. The imprint is still there, and that energetic imprint should follow along into the world of spirit. It just doesn't enter the the world of spirit as quickly because it's not released when the bulk of the soul leaves. It's kind of like a shadow. If you go out in the bright sunlight and look down on the ground, your shadow's there. So imagine if the physical body just disappears, but the shadow's still there. The imprint is still there for a while. And it takes a while for that imprint to be released from the physical body at death. That's the best way I can explain it. Do you understand?
Thank you. And this other follow-up question is from Laura. Is there an advantage to cremating our beloved pets rather than burying them? Thank you.
The same principles would work with animals as human beings. There is no difference. It's just the physical bodies were different, and of course, the animal kingdom works differently than humans. Obviously, animals do not speak words as you hear, but they communicate with each other through telepathy and through thought forms. So, in some ways, they're very similar to us, but to human beings, I should say. But the human beings do not have the capacity, or most human beings, I should say, don't have the capacity to tune into the thought forms of the animal kingdom and understand what they are thinking and feeling. There are certain people who can do that, who usually call themselves animal communicators. They are a type of medium most of the time, and they can communicate and hear the thoughts of humans, of animals. So therefore, you should it works basically the same way. So there is some advantage to having animals buried as opposed to having them cremated. For those of you that own property, it's not a crime to dig a grave and bury your animal on your property. When I was alive in the physical world, I actually had a dog cemetery where my dogs were all buried, and I was the one who dug the graves and put them there. So it is beneficial for animals as well to be buried. Do you understand?
Thank you. And now we have two questions regarding people who were vaccinated. So I will try to combine them from Carol and Karen. Um, can the consciousness gathering meditation that we have, can it release all of the discord and the disease from the vax and from the shedding? And is there any progress in a way to help those people who took the vax? It is predicted that many millions will die next year, many of our family members. Uh, can this be prevented and how can we help? Is it true that there is a built in kill switch meant to depopulate the earth? So, what can be done for those that did take the vaccines? Thank you.
The answer is kind of twofold. In order to reverse what was done through the vaccines, the person has to acknowledge the fact that that is the truth. There are millions of people, if you were to explain this to them, would think that you have just walked out of an insane asylum. They would not accept it. They would think you're totally crazy, and they would just turn their backs, walk away, and go on living their life until what you talked about happens. There is a mechanism within that vaccine that can be activated through vibration to start a deterioration of the body and causing it to destruct. And you are correct that that was part of what was designed into that vaccine in order to take people off the earth, because certain people of the elite think that the world has too much population, and with a smaller population they could control what is left better. To address the part of the question about the consciousness gathering, the consciousness gathering is a very powerful tool. They when you listen to it, there are what you are terming soul codes in it that allow you to change not only your thinking, but to what's going on in the body. However, it needs direction. So if a person who understands and will accept the fact that they have the power to set the intent to eradicate any of the substance from the vaccine and any of the particles that could get turned on, they can annihilate all that through the use of the consciousness gathering, provided that is the intent that they had. You heard the medium who's speaking to you about the intent that he had and the powerful experience that he has experienced, and the liberation he has experienced using the consciousness gathering with the intent he set. So a person who understands the harmfulness of the vaccines and has the intent to reverse that and sits and uses the consciousness gathering and is in that energy, it will allow the soul codes to go through and bring things back into its natural state. However, not only must the person do it, the person must have the mindset of absolute 1000% knowingness that this will occur. There can be no doubt. There can be no, well, I'll see if it'll work. They have to sit with the intent of knowing 100%, 1000% that they will be cured from any effects of the vaccine by using the consciousness gathering, and use it on a very regular basis. We would recommend it every day, but at least 5 days a week, to make sure that you are in the energy, sitting with that intent, and to feel it happening. Now, will you feel that the on a molecular level that things are changing? No, but you should feel a shift in your energy as you are in listening to the consciousness gathering. You will feel the effect of the soul codes upon your body. Your mind might get a little fuzzy. Your hands might start to vibrate. Your hands may get hot. You will feel something that's happening, and that's those things that you are feeling, whatever that quality may be, is your verification that you are in the energy and that it is working. And you should know that it is working and know that you will be cured. Between being in the energy having the intent and knowing that it will happen and has already happened will negate any of the effects of the vaccine. Do you understand?
Thank you. The next question is from Susan Yu. There are crystals called halonet that have been found in the ground at a ranch in Texas. They are purported to be remnants of a crashed UFO mixed with the Earth where they landed thousands of years ago and are of very high frequency. Can you please comment on the validity of this? They are said to be from a place called Trenton, far away from our solar system. Thank you.
The planet Earth has been visited by beings from other planetary systems for eons of time. The extraterrestrial people, I'll use that term, they have visited this planet and have been observing the inhabitants, the human beings living on the planet. They were ones who came and brought advanced technology to help the evolution of humankind. They are the ones who began building the pyramids. They are the ones who had all sorts of advanced technology. People who lived in what you term Atlantis and Lemuria were visited by these extraterrestrial people. They had technologies that no longer exist on the earth plane because so much destruction of knowledge happened when religions took over and started to control people's minds and made them afraid of not only the world of spirit, but people from other planetary systems or other dimensions. So the world went into a state of ignorance, and the longer it lasted, the worse the ignorance became. You are living in a time where religions is losing their grips over people's minds. You are living in a time where the Great Awakening is occurring, where people are starting to realize how religion has inhibited the cultural and the technological gains that could have been made. People living in other worlds do not use fossil fuels. They ride on streams of light. You do not have that technology yet, but you will shortly. You will, because the extraterrestrial people will be working with certain human beings to discover it. The humans are discovering it. The extraterrestrial people, it's second nature. It's their common knowledge. So yes, you are in a grand awakening and you are being watched by people from other dimensions and other planetary systems, and they are going to do exactly what they did eons of time ago. Because when you go into the new age of knowledge, as we call it, where religions will no longer have any control or even exist any longer, and people will realize that each and every human being is an expression of divine energy. They will also come to realize that the beings that are living in other planetary systems are also part of the same divine energy. This is part of the reason they have come back. They came back eons ago to help the human beings because we're all the same from the same source. We have the same divine energy in us. We just have different physical expressions because of the planet that we came from. So therefore, it's not shocking that they are coming back. And it is not shocking that they're coming back to help us because while they are doing that and they are giving a jump start to human beings' evolution, it's also jump starting their own evolution in their dimensions because we're all evolving, we're all changing, we're all becoming more enlightened and more into we're evolving. And it's not just humans that are evolving, it's every species on every planet that's evolving. We're all having different experiences, but in a sense, we're all the same because we all have the same essence, the same one I am energy within us, no matter what our physical expression is and what planet we're living on. Do you understand?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to go back for just a moment to people who are vaccinated. Are there advanced technologies right now being worked on, such as the med beds, or such as the existing technology of the blue room, that will be able to clear someone's body of the harm of the vaccines or the shedding? Thank you.
My friend, it's all one and the same. The med beds that you speak of are basically what happens when you lie in them is basically the same thing that is happening when you are using the consciousness gathering recording. What's happening in the blue rooms that you were speaking about is the same thing. It's, how do I say this? It's a different method to use the same concept, the same techniques. It's just a different way of doing it, a different approach. You do not have to limit yourself to lying in a special bed. You can sit in your own chair and listen to the recording and set the intent and have the knowingness that you will be healed. And it does the same thing as lying in the med bed. Think about this, my friend. If you go into one of these beds, you lie down. Don't you have the feeling 100%, 1,000% that you're going to be healed because this bed is so magical, it's going to do it? Isn't that the same attitude that we were speaking about with you sitting in your chair and listening to the recording? Yes. It is the same intent. It is the same knowingness that you're going to be healed. It's just a different way of approaching it. You're laying in a bed instead of listening to a recording. But it's the same, going to produce the same results. So don't feel that you have to wait until you can come to that bed. You have access to the recording. Use it. Do you understand?
Yes, thank you. This question is from Susan Yu and Carol also. Was there more than one plot to assassinate Donald Trump that day in July when he was shot at? And can you explain who they were and any other revealing information related to that day? Was it our own government, the CIA, etc., that carried out the attack? And was it divine intervention that saved Trump? Thank you.
We have talked about today certain people who designed that vaccine in order to get rid of people and control people. Those same people realize that the man you are talking about, who you refer to as Trump, is the one person who has been brave enough and bold enough to attack these groups of people and try to destroy their power and their influence over your government and over people's lives. He is seen as a threat to their power base. And this is why they have done everything in their power to try to impede him and stop him from returning to the presidency again, from having the political power again, because they realize that if he gets into the office, or I should say when he gets into the office, they are, if they were fearful of him during his first term, he's going to go at it 5 times stronger this time, because he knows that this is his final chance in order to liberate people from their control. They are doing everything they can to stop him. They have laid out a trap of legal problems for him to try to stop him from becoming the president again. That has not worked. What they do not realize is that those of us in the unseen who wish to aid people to become liberated from all control is working with him, because his intent, his sole mission on this life, was to help drain the swamp, was what the term he uses, and that is his goal, and he will be most successful at it when he gets back into the office again. And these people are aware of that. So yes, they set out a plot in order to stop him from getting into the presidency. And since all their ploys have not worked, they've now resorted to trying to end his physical life in order to stop him and so they can retain their power. There has been much cooperation by the people who run so much of your government, and you must understand that most of the people who are running the government are not elected officials. They are bureaucrats. They are part of this, what's you term the deep state. And they are the ones who wish to maintain control over the people. And they are the ones who do not wish to be free of their control. So yes, they have arranged through their agencies to make mistakes, if you want to use that word, to allow openings in order for the assassination of President Trump. It was through spirit, through us, and the unseen dimensions, which not only inspired him to turn his head, we actually had people there who turned his head at the right moment. Now, when we say we had people there, if a clairvoyant was at the event, they would have seen it. They would have seen us turning his head in order to miss the bullet. We are doing our utmost to protect this man, because he is our champion. He is the only human who is working to eliminate the control of the deep state that wishes to keep you enslaved in their own type of dogma, and in order to maintain their own power. So yes, it was us to help protect him, and we are walking with him, and we will do our utmost to see that he ends up assuming the political power in order to achieve his mission, which is also the mission that we want for you, to live in as free people and not enslaved to any type of government, religion, or anything else. Do you understand?
Thank you so much. And that's our last question.
I wish to express to you that you are living in difficult times. And I want you to understand it is very important that you do not get yourself focused so much on all the negative things that are happening, but to walk with the understanding and the appreciation of being connected with the world of spirit and with spirituality, and to understand that you are a divine, you are the one I am. You are that. You're just having a physical expression of it. You're having a physical life, but you are divine energy. And we ask you to focus on the positivity of your divine nature. We ask you to do the consciousness gathering. We ask you to listen to the opening meditation or the opening channeling that would happen today, because that channeling will also be put on video so you can have access to it. We ask you to sit in this energy as much as you can, because what it does is not only, as this medium talked to you about, changing things in your life, it also attunes you to the one I am energy. It allows you to keep the positive nature of it. It allows you to walk in confidence and without fear, because it is important in the days to come not to be fearful. It is because when you are in fear, it blocks communication with your God energy and communicating with the world of spirit. So we ask you to use these tools, these techniques, in order to maintain the positive nature that you need to be in order to walk through these days. It will be tricky. There will be what you might call minefields, and we will be there to guide you, to guide your feet and to guide your steps, to step so that you do not step on a landmine, that you do not fall into and experience a problem. But in order to do that, you need to be able to communicate with us, and that is why sitting, using the consciousness gathering on a regular basis allows you to develop that, what they term muscle memory. You know, when you do exercises, your body kind of remembers how to do it. Well, what we're talking about is an automatic response to connect with us. So by doing this frequently, you are building up that automatic switch to go from your physical life into the more spiritual energy. The goal of everything is to live in the spiritual energy all the time. But that sometimes is tricky for humans, because sometimes you forget. Sometimes that happens. The medium that is speaking with you right now had an experience the other day that triggered him back into his past and his childhood and some very unpleasant memories, and he reacted that way. It's almost an instantaneous thing, And when he sat and used a consciousness gathering, it erased all that negativity that built up that day. It put him back on track. And so, what we need to realize is that these recordings that are available to you are extremely powerful tools, and that you need to remember to use them and to employ them into your life, because they are going to be crucial in the days to come to help you get through it. So we want you to walk ahead in your future with confidence, with the knowledge that you have protection from the world of spirit. You have the tools of using the consciousness gathering and the other recordings that will be coming forth in order to help you maintain that energy and that mindset, and to be connected with us. And therefore, you will we walk through the storms. You are fortunate to have these tools, because so many others who do not will not have as a positive outcome as you will. So keep your focus on what you know. Be an example to other people of how living a spiritual life will help you, especially in the days to come. When you feel inspired, share this knowledge with people, because you will have an innate sense of knowing who it is safe to talk to people, share this information with, and who would not be open to it. You do not need to share it with everybody and have people who will not accept it rebuke you and belittle you for what you believe. You do not need that. And that in itself can start to erode what you are building up. So use your inner knowingness to know who to share this with, and share it with those that you feel inspired to do so, and help spread this light into the world. I give, I charge you to walk forward with the knowingness inside, with your torch of knowledge held high in the air. For those who are ready to follow this path will be drawn to you, and you will be teaching them. You will be the great teachers in the days to come of how to proceed into the age of knowledge. My most profound blessings go with you, as well as my love and my immense pride with your progression of your lives, of your spiritual path, and you're walking on your spiritual path. So be it.